did you authorize the CIA to go into Venezuela? And is there more information you can share about these strikes on the alleged drug boats in the Caribbean?
I authorized for two reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. They came in through the, they came in through the border. They came in because we had an open border policy. And as soon as I heard that, I said, a lot of these countries, they're not the only country, but they're the worst abuser. And they've entered they've allowed thousands and thousands of prisoners, mental institution, people from mental institutions, insane asylums, emptied out into the United States. We're bringing them back, but that's a really bad, and they did it at a level that probably not, many countries have done it, but not like Venezuela. They were down and dirty. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela. And a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea, so you get to see that. But we're going to stop them by land also.
Does the CIA have authority to take out Maduro?
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer? But I think Venezuela is feeling heat, but I think a lot of other countries are feeling heat too. We're not going to let this country, our country, be ruined because other people want to drop, as you say, their worst. They have given us their worst. They've loaded up our country with prisoners.
Okay, what's good, everyone? It's Nigel here, Trinidad Empowerment Network. So I said I would bring you an update on the budget, do a deep dive into the budget on my next video. But unfortunately, what's happening in the Caribbean now is so serious, I thought I'd bring you this instead. So the budget deep dive will come tomorrow. So reports are emerging that 2 Trinidadians may have been killed in a US military airstrike off the coast of Venezuela. You would have seen this by now. I'm probably bringing this to you a couple of days late. You may or may not have seen this by now. I believe you may have. The US claims the strike targeted a vessel linked to drug trafficking. This has been the line they have played for the last few months since they've been in the Southern Caribbean. There's been no official evidence presented, and both the Venezuelan government and families here in Trinidad are demanding answers. Now listen to what I just said there. The Venezuelan government and families in Trinidad are demanding answers. Not the Trinidad government, the Venezuelan government are demanding answers, and families in Trinidad and Tobago. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
There is a killer roaming around the Caribbean. Is bloodthirsty, is killing everyone which is on the sea working, and people from different countries, Colombia, Trinidad, etc., are suffering the effects of these massacres. This is important for you.
This is the 5th confirmed strike in Caribbean waters, by the way, the 5th confirmed strikes. According to The Guardian and CNC3, local police are investigating whether 2 nationals were among the 6 people killed in that strike. Relatives of a 28-year-old called Chad Burnley from Las Cuevas believe he may have been on board. This is unconfirmed. I don't know. The Venezuelan government insists the victims were innocent civilians, not traffickers, calling the incident an illegal extrajudicial attack carried out in Caribbean waters. The Venezuelan government is calling it so. Not ours, not our government. Nothing from our government. Nothing. Insane. Just about every other Caribbean island is calling it that, apart from Trinidad and maybe Guyana. In any case, what makes this even more serious is what followed. What makes this even more serious is what followed. On October the 16th, which is about a day ago, Donald Trump confirmed publicly that he has authorized the CIA to conduct covert operation inside of Venezuela. His claim, or he claimed, it was to combat drugs and migration. I want to be clear, Trinidad Empowerment Network, Venezuela never granted permission for US military operation within its borders or territorial waters. Never granted permission. Under international law, that is a clear violation of sovereignty. A clear violation of sovereignty. But who's going to stop them, Trinidad? Who's going to stop them? This, as I say to you on just about every video I do on this topic now, is unprecedented. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? This is the footage that's currently circulating of what happened, the 5th boat strike in Caribbean waters. It's a small vessel, as you can see, a small vessel destroyed within seconds. A small vessel destroyed within seconds. The United States, as they've done in the last 4 strikes, are calling it a drug boat. But relatives in Trinidad say their sons were fishermen, not traffickers. Now, I can't confirm or deny that, but that's what they're saying. Now, if that's true, then this wasn't counter-narcotics. It was an unlawful killing in Caribbean waters. I don't need to tell you this. The 10 viewers, you are a bright bunch, apart from the few idiots that come on board and make derogatory remarks. I make no apologies for calling them what I just did. You are a bright bunch. You know what's going on here. You know what's going on here. It's clear that someone is playing judge, jury, and executioner in Caribbean waters. Now, there is a narrative being pushed by some people in our society in Trinidad and Tobago, and they know exactly who they are, saying stuff like, well, they were drug dealers anyway. You see it online, and I don't use online or Facebook for my news, but you see it online. Even if that was true, and there's no solid evidence that it was, we must remember we live in something called a democracy, not a dictatorship. We still live in a democracy in the Caribbean, not a dictatorship. In a democracy, we do not play judge, jury, and executioner. We do not play judge, jury, and executioner. It's called a democracy for a reason. That's why we have a justice system, because every person, guilty or not, deserves due process. Every person, and I'm sure you would agree, the moment we start excusing extrajudicial killings by saying they were probably criminals anyway and they deserve it, we lose that integrity. We lose the ground we stand on. We lose our integrity. To strip men of their right to life because they may or may not have been criminals, that is not who we are as people in the Caribbean. So those who are calling it, they deserve it, to those spreading that mindset, you are sick individuals. Until evidence is presented in court, in a court of law, no government, no army, and no foreign power has the right to decide who lives or dies in Caribbean waters. So those who are saying these people deserve it, you need to have your head examined. Calling yourself Trinidadian, you're not Trinidadian. This is a democracy. We still live in a democracy. We do not play judge, jury, and executioner. This is insane to me. So, that aside, meanwhile, the diplomatic fallout is clearly intensified as we expected it would do. It's intensified as we expected it would do. The Venezuelan Vice President, Delcy Rodríguez, blasted the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, calling her earlier remarks a self-fulfilling prophecy. Wow. In September, as you know, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago supported the US actions, saying she had no sympathy for drug traffickers and that the US military should kill them all violently. That was the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago's words. Delcy Rodríguez responded, writing, quote, the bombs also extrajudicially murdered humble citizens of her country. That was her response. She went further, warning that Trinidad and Guyana have become vassal governments of US interest, and accusing Washington of threatening peace across Latin America and the Southern Caribbean and the Caribbean in general. This is not great. I have no idea where this is going, Trinidad and Tobago. And what we see now is, wow. Wow is the only word that comes to mind. Now, under Article 6 of the International Covenant on the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, every person has the right to life, and that right cannot be suspended or ignored. Lethal force is only lawful under clear, immediate threat, not as a punishment, not without trial, and not in neutral Caribbean waters. That is clear. Human rights experts have already described these killings as extrajudicial, the word I'm struggling to say, extrajudicial. And if civilians were indeed among the dead, they could meet the threshold of war crimes under international law. That's from the UN. Whether you like them, dislike them, or what, that's what they're saying. That's from the UN. This is a clear breach of international law. This is essentially, they're calling it a war crime, according to them. They're essentially calling this a war crime, but it doesn't take a rocket science to work out that it clearly was. How is this allowed to happen? How is it, we are in 2025. How is this allowed to happen? This isn't just a Venezuelan issue, by the way. It's a Caribbean issue. This is now a Caribbean issue. There are Caribbean men allegedly dead. Because if the United States can conduct drone strikes in our waters and kill Caribbean citizens without consequence, then no nation in this region is safe from external aggression. No island is safe. Our government must now decide, will they stay silent or will they defend the sovereignty and dignity of Caribbean lives? Where do you think they would go? What do you think the government in Trinidad is going to do about this? Because I've seen or heard nothing from them so far. Nothing. This is insane. I can't stress to you enough from this seat I'm sat in to wherever you're watching how insane this all is. I cannot. The facts are simple. The facts are simple here. 2 Trinidadians are missing, presumably dead. 6 people are dead, confirmed. The US president has confirmed CIA covert operations in Venezuela. This is no longer speculation. This is documented facts. Everything I said to you today is documented facts. What remains unknown is whether justice will be served and whether Caribbean leaders will stand up and say enough is enough. But even if they did, I'm struggling to know what else we could do. Because tonight, our region isn't just witnessing foreign aggression, we are witnessing the erosion of accountability itself. This is the most important thing here. It's fascinating to me. So, again, I said I will keep my ear to the ground and bring you the best information as possible. Everything I bring to you here is because it comes to you from a place of love. I love my island. I was born there. And I hate to see what is happening right now. And I want to keep you informed as best as I can. So I'm going to keep my ear to the ground as I do here on Trinidad Empowerment Network. I'm going to bring you the best factual information as possible. This is more important, way more important than the budget. Because if you're not alive, you can't spend the money anyway. So that's not a very funny joke, but there you go. Stay tuned to Trinidad Empowerment Network. I'll see you guys on my next video. Much love. Look after each other. And I mean that. Look after each other. God bless. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Peace.